Hello, welcome again to the Gabriel Mungai YouTube channel. We are always happy to have you and to receive your response. Kindly like, share, and don't forget to subscribe. Today we'll be talking about success routine part 3, and this is the spiritual routines. So when we talk about spiritual routines, it is the things that you do that ensure your spiritual dimension is up and alive. A man is made of two dimensions. We have the physical, that is the human body, and we have the spiritual, that is the spiritual side of a man. So for you to achieve complete success, then you have to be a complete man. And a complete man must take care of all the dimensions of a man, that is both the physical and the spiritual. Well, spiritually, most of the successful people that have gone down in record have been based and grounded very well spiritually. Let us see a few examples of some of the most successful people in the world. Number one, we can look at John D. Rockefeller. This was one of the richest men that has been recorded of the 20th century. And although his spiritual life has not been very much expounded by the media, he was a spiritual man who attended his boyhood child since he was a boy to his last days. Most of his money ended up to religious activities. That is, the largest part of his fortune ended up to religious activities. Another good example is Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was one of the renowned presidents of USA. His speeches and his writings are so grounded spiritually that almost whatever he did had a record of the Bible or an aspect of God. Number three, we can look at Martin Luther King, one of the biggest revolutionaries of the 21st century, that is the 20th century. Martin Luther King has gone down on record as being a Baptist pastor. These contributed largely on his success in his mission in revolutionizing racial discrimination. There are uncountable examples including Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, and these are men and women who strongly were founded on spiritual ground. So what can we do consistently to improve our spiritual life? Number one, we need to learn to worship God, the supernatural. Well, worship is the undivided attention and understanding that there's a higher power beyond what we are, that there's someone above who controls everything that happens in this world. We need to worship by giving, understanding, revering, and obeying the laws of our supernatural God. Number two, you need to learn to pray. Well, prayer is one of the only way we can talk to our supernatural God. Prayer is a communication channel. It is a function that allows the God's will to function on earth. It is the way we give God permission and allow Him to work in our lives. Well, through prayer, we can pray for our needs. We can also pray for the needs of others. But also through prayer, we can worship and revere God in that aspect as well. Number three, we need to read and meditate on the scriptures. Well, to improve our understanding of our spiritual man and the supernatural, reading of the scriptures is as basic as eating food. The same way we eat our daily food to keep our body nourished is the same way we need to read and meditate the word of God to keep our spirit man nourished. From the Word of God, this is where we learn the principles of life and an understanding of God. And with this forms the basic ethics of our life. The other point is changing our lifestyle to fit our spiritual life. Well, if you have a dimension of God, you have an understanding of God, and you pray to God and you worship God, then this opens up the discipline that is of God. This one will determine the habits that you'll have to let go and the habits that you will create. If you look at people like Nelson Mandela, Abraham Lincoln, Mother Teresa, look at Martin Luther King, they were bound by certain discipline due to knowledge of God. The same way, when we have a dimension of our life with God, we also end up changing our character, our lifestyle to fit the will of God. Number 5 and the last point is to build good relationship. First, with ourselves. Second, with the people around us. And number 3, with God. You cannot be spiritually complete and not have good relationship, especially with yourself, more importantly with others, but ultimately with God. Relationship determine everything. Whoever you work with, how you work with them is all based on how you relate with them. So building good relationship is key. So these 5 aspects will build you spiritually as a person, but besides spiritually will also manifest themselves in your physical life, and doing this will help you succeed in whatever you're doing. So I'd encourage you today to make sure that you have these routines written in your normal daily routine. Well, you cannot be able to do each and every one of them at every day, but with constant, consistent of doing this thing, maybe once every 2 days or once a week, each of these 5 points once a week will help you towards becoming a successful person. So thank you very much for watching. Kindly remember the 5 points and see you on the next episode.